What do you do when your wife tells you to relax about a trip with her ex, then posts smiling beach photos while you stay home with your child? How does a husband answer public humiliation without shouting, without chasing planes, without begging? Can the law arrive quieter than jealousy and land harder than any argument? Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. My name is Ephraim Vale, and I did not think my marriage would fall apart over a weekend trip she said was just Miami with old friends. I work a regular job at a hospital supply office. I come home at the same time almost every day. I help our daughter with homework, and I thought steadiness was a good thing. My wife, Marissa, started talking about needing space, needing sun, needing to feel young, and when I asked who was going, she said her ex would be there, but I should not be jealous. She said only insecure men get upset about the past. She told her mother I was trying to control her, so I became the problem in their story. I did not shout, I did not forbid her, I did not go to the airport to drag her back. I stayed home, watched the timestamps on her posts, saved what mattered, and took care of our daughter who asked why mom was hugging another man on the beach. She thought I would just swallow it. Instead, I decided to answer it the proper way. I came home on a Wednesday, and the kitchen already smelled like she had made something quick and left it, like she had fed herself before I got there. Our daughter was at the table with crayons, not eating. Marissa was in the living room with her laptop open, scrolling through flights, sandals, and hotel pools. I asked if we were going somewhere, and she said, in a light voice, that she and a few people were going to Miami for the weekend. I asked which people. She said college friends, people I did not know well, and maybe Tyler, but it's not like that. Don't be weird. She said it fast, like she wanted that part out before I could react. I did not raise my voice. I said I did not know she was still close with Tyler. She said everybody stays friends now, only jealous husbands make it a problem. She said I should stay home with Sophie and have dad time. I said I always have dad time. That part she ignored. She got up to check something in the kitchen, and I saw on her laptop screen a tab with flight times and another tab with best rooftop bars Miami. Not a girl's trip budget site, not a family place. I warmed what she had left and set 2 plates, one for me and one for our daughter. Marissa said she already ate. That was the second small distance that evening. Separate food, separate plans, separate trip. I watched her rinse one mug and leave the other on the opposite side of the sink. We used to rinse both without thinking. Now it was like the house itself was showing 2 lanes. After dinner, I went upstairs and opened my own laptop on the small landing desk. I made a new sheet, nothing fancy, just date, time, event. I wrote, Wed 1840, announced Miami, said old friends, said Tyler there, said don't be jealous. I kept the language plain so it looked like notes from work. I heard her coming up the stairs, so I minimized the screen and opened a random email. She stopped by the door and asked what I was doing. I said I was just checking hospital orders. She said I was always working. I said she was always planning. That made her smile, but not in a warm way. She said she had told her mother about the trip, and her mother said she deserved it. I knew what that meant. She had already set up the story outside the house. If I questioned it now, I would look like the man trying to cage the fun wife. I went back down later to take the trash out and saw an envelope in the outbox on the hall table, unsealed. I glanced inside without touching it. It was a printed itinerary from an airline site with Miami in bold. There was also the faint smell of printer toner, so she had printed it not long before I got home. She had done it openly because she wanted it to look clean, not hidden. I took the trash outside and looked at her car. She had parked it facing the street instead of inward, nose toward the exit, like someone already ready to leave Friday morning. I made a note of that in my head. I went back in and asked about Sophie's schedule for the weekend. Marissa said it was perfect because I could have quality time and she would recharge. She said couples who last give each other room. I said couples who last tell each other the whole plan. She said I was overthinking a simple trip. She said if I trusted her, I would not need details. I said details are not the enemy of trust. She rolled her eyes and said she would send me the flight info later. She did not send it. Instead, when she went upstairs to our bedroom, I heard her voice change. She was on the phone, softer, more playful. I stood in the hallway where she could not see me and opened my own phone. I set a calendar reminder for 2 days after she would be back, titled Harbor Room 8:15 a.m. It looked like a meeting, but it was just a marker, so I could place conversations on a timeline. I also took the blank sheet I had printed at work earlier and slipped it into a folder I labeled Household. I wanted the folder to look like bills so nobody would dig. While I was doing that, my phone lit up on the console table with an incoming call from Private. I had the sound muted, so it was only the light. At that exact moment, upstairs, I heard our bedroom door close with a soft click, like she did not want our daughter or me to hear who she was talking to about Miami. Muted phone lights up as private while Marissa closes the bedroom door to take a call about the trip. I drove her to the airport on Friday morning because she said it would be simpler if I dropped her and kept the car for the weekend. Sophie sat in the back half asleep with her stuffed rabbit because she wanted to say bye to Mom. Marissa wore travel clothes that were too styled for just friends. Light linen shirt tied at the waist, tight jeans, hair done, nails fresh. She said she needed sun. She said she needed a break. She said I should use the weekend to reset my attitude about her male friends. I did not argue. I asked again who was going. She said the names fast. 2 girls from college, 1 from work, and probably Tyler because he lives there, so it's normal, don't start. She said it like I had already started, but I had not. I only said, okay. She kissed Sophie on the forehead, then kissed me quick on the cheek, not on the mouth, the kind of kiss people give family members when they are in a hurry. Then she pulled her small suitcase out of the trunk and walked toward the departures door without looking back. I watched her until the automatic doors closed behind her. I checked the clock on the dashboard and wrote it in my notes. Fry 07:42. Drop off, said Tyler might join, said don't be jealous. I drove home with Sophie and put cartoons on for her. I made coffee and opened my laptop at the dining table where I could see the living room. I went to Marissa's social media, the public one and the one for close friends. I was not blocked from either because she thought she was still in control of the story. There was nothing yet, only a picture from the airport of her shoes and a caption, "Weekend needed." I saved it anyway. At 10:13 a.m., while I was washing dishes, my phone lit up with a calendar reminder. Harbor Room 8:15 a.m., the one I had set earlier. I let it show on the screen for a second and then dismissed it in case Sophie walked by. I did not want her to ask what Harbor Room was. I did not want to lie to her. I spent the rest of the morning doing normal things, but I kept the laptop open on the side. Around noon, her first Miami post went up. It was a boomerang of palm trees and a drink. In the reflection of her sunglasses, I could see the edge of a man's shoulder. She captioned it, "Girls' Weekend," even though there was clearly a man near. I screen recorded it and dropped it into Archive A. 10 minutes later, her friend Tasha posted a story from the same spot, tagged Marissa, and in the background I saw Tyler fully this time, sitting on the pool chair, shirtless, sunglasses on. Tasha wrote, "Reunited with the Chaos King." That was her name for Tyler. I saved that, too. At 1:07 p.m., Marissa texted me, "Landed. All good. We'll be busy, so don't blow up my phone." I looked at the timestamp and matched it with the posts. She had already been on a pool chair when she texted, "Landed." That meant she texted late to make it look clean. I did not call her out. I answered, "Okay. Have fun. We're good." I wanted the text log to show I was calm. In the afternoon, I took Sophie to the park. She asked when Mom was coming back. I said Sunday night. She asked why she could not go. I said Mom was with college friends. She said, "Like the man on the chair?" I asked what she meant. She said Mom's friend posted a video and she saw Mom and a man. I forgot for a second that tablets and phones make everything visible to kids too. I said it was just an old friend. She accepted it, but I could tell it sat in her head. After the park, I drove us home and stopped at the supermarket for dinner things. While we waited in the checkout line, my phone vibrated with another reminder I had set earlier in the week. Meeting, personal. I let it buzz once and turned the screen over. I wanted to see how it looked in public spaces, how easy it was to dismiss without making a scene. Back at home, when Sophie started a movie, I opened the laptop again. Now there were more posts. One was at the beach, 4 people, but the crop was tight on Marissa and Tyler, like she wanted to show they were comfortable. The caption said, "Old history, always friends." In the comments, someone wrote, "Your husband is chill for letting you do this." Marissa replied, "He trusts me." I stared at that line for a while. It was not just that she was in Miami with her ex. It was that she was using me as a prop to show how modern she was. I took a screenshot of the comment thread. Then I went to my work bag, took out a single sheet I had printed blank earlier, and added it to the utilities folder at home so all the folders looked normally used. I taped a USB under the taxes folder again, like I had done in another situation before. I wanted it to be muscle memory. In the evening, I got a message from my brother, Noah. He sent me Marissa's beach post with Tyler in the back and wrote, "You seeing this?" I told him yes. He asked if I was going to say anything. I said no, not yet. I said I was writing things down. He said, "Good, stay calm." He said people always tell the big version in public, then freak out when the real version shows up in documents. I said I knew. Around 8 p.m., Marissa sent me a short video of the ocean and wrote, "You should be here. I answered, "Taking care of our daughter, you should be here too." She did not answer that. Instead, 10 minutes later, on her story, she posted a boomerang at a rooftop bar, city lights behind, and this time Tyler leaned in and kissed her on the side of the head in a "we go way back" way. She did not post that to her main, only to close friends, but I was still in the list. That was a mistake. I saved it, labeled the file Fry Rooftop 2019. I added a note in my sheet. She says I am insecure. She posts this. Then I opened a new browser tab and searched delivery tracking, notary near me, and storage options. I did not click anything deep. I just wanted those words in my history for later patterns. I minimized the browser when I heard steps. Sophie came in to say goodnight. I shut the laptop gently so she would not see the videos. After she went to bed, I sat on the couch with the TV on low and watched Miami happen on my phone. At 9:43 p.m., a group chat ping showed up from her friend Tasha, the same group where they drop memes and vacation photos. I had been added long ago for family events. The message said, "Tell your husband to relax, he's got the kid, you got the son." That was the public ripple I was waiting for. It meant she had already told them I was uncomfortable and they were laughing at it. It meant if I reacted now, I would look exactly like the man they described. At the exact same time, from the hallway, I heard Sophie's small voice ask if Mom could video call to say goodnight because I want to show her my drawing. I looked at the group chat message, then at my daughter, and knew I had the next piece. Group chat ping, "Tell your husband to relax." Appears on his screen while his daughter asks if Mom can call to say goodnight. Saturday was slower for us than for her. I made oatmeal, cleaned the kitchen, and put on laundry. Sophie sat on the floor drawing palm trees because that was what she saw on her mother's phone. She asked if Miami was far. I said yes. She asked if Mom would bring her a seashell. I said probably. I kept my own phone nearby because I knew the real story did not come from calls with me anymore. It came from what she wanted to show other people. Around 10:30 a.m., her first story of the day went up. It was on a boat. Not a big yacht, but not a cheap tour either. 4 people, music, drinks, blue water. Marissa was in a bikini top with a shirt loose over it, sunglasses on, hair in the wind. She panned the camera around and said it was therapy. For half a second, the camera landed on Tyler, steering, his hand on the wheel, and he leaned in to say something to her. She cut the clip right there before his mouth moved. She posted it to her close friends list. I was still on it. I screen recorded it, saved it to Archive A, and wrote the time. Sat 10:31 boat, Tyler steering. I did not text her about it. If I did, she would say I was watching her too close, prove her point to her friends, and probably remove me from the list. I wanted to stay in, even if it hurt, because staying in meant more evidence. At noon, I took Sophie to a kids' event at the community center. There were folding chairs, a craft table, bad music. I sat at the back with the other parents, phone face down, but not off. I saw it light up again and again. This time it was not just Marissa posting, it was her friends posting her. Tasha filmed Marissa dancing on the boat, holding a drink, and wrote on top, "Her husband is gonna die." Another friend wrote, "She's living, y'all." Tyler posted a group pic to his own feed, public, not close friends, and tagged Marissa. In the comments, someone from his circle wrote, "New Miami couple?" with a wink emoji. Marissa replied, "Old friends, calm down." I took screenshots of all of it. I saved the comments, too. Comments tell you what other people saw. Comments are what you can point to when someone says, "You imagined it." I minimized the screen every time Sophie turned around to see if I was watching her dance. When the kids' program ended, one of the other neighborhood mothers, Mrs. Daniels, who lived 2 units down from us, asked if Marissa was out of town. I said yes, a short trip. She said she thought she saw a rideshare drop her off late last week. She did not say it like gossip. She said it like she was making sure everything was fine. I said yes, she has been busy. I could tell she was filing that in her head. People notice when cars come at odd hours. In the afternoon, back home, I made lunch and put on a movie for Sophie. I sat in the corner of the couch with the laptop. I made a clean desktop tree. Archive A, Archive B. I put Friday's material in A, Saturday's in B. I added a text file with times. I also added a note. She is using me as a prop to show chill husband. While I was doing that, my phone buzzed with a message from Gloria, my mother-in-law. She wrote a long message about how I needed to trust Marissa, how trips like that keep marriages exciting, how I was lucky she chose me when she had high-value men from her past. She said there was no need to make drama. That told me Marissa had been feeding her a version where I was already overreacting. I wrote back, "I'm calm. I'm taking care of your granddaughter. Enjoy your day." I wanted even that message to look reasonable. I did not mention the man on the boat. I did not mention the comments. The calmer I looked, the more her future anger would look like cover. At around 3, Marissa posted the clip that turned the heat up. It was from what looked like a hotel suite or an Airbnb. Open layout, sliding doors to a balcony. Music was playing, girls were shouting, and someone said, "Toast to our queen." A glass rose into the frame. It was Marissa's hand. Then someone, probably Tasha, said loudly, "To men who let their wives travel." Another voice, male, laughed in the background. It sounded like Tyler. And Marissa, instead of correcting them, instead of saying, "Hey, I have a good husband," said, "To not being controlled." Everybody cheered. That clip landed on her main story, not just close friends. That meant she wanted the world to hear it. I saved it, of course. I watched it twice. The first time as a husband, the second time as someone building a case. I noted the caption time and the music used. I checked the hotel decor to match it with Miami listings later. I wrote in my sheet, "Sat 1504 toast," to not being controlled. I also saw that below the story, Gloria had commented, "That's my daughter." So now the family was publicly clapping for the toast against me. That made the humiliation public, which meant the answer also had to be public later. I did not text Marissa. I did something else. I stood up, went to the wall planner in the hallway, and with a red pen I circled the Thursday after her return. I did not write a label, just a red circle. Then I went to the small desk drawer and opened it. I placed a single USB in there with today's date written on a sticky note, and then I closed it and turned the key. The lock made a clean click, loud enough that if someone had been in the hallway, they would have heard it. I wanted that sound in the memory of the house. Then I went back to the couch and watched my daughter sleep on the cushions with her cartoon still on. This was the part people online did not see, the man at home babysitting while being called controlling. By evening, Miami got louder. Marissa posted a photo of herself in a bright dress on a balcony with the city behind her. In the reflection of the glass door, Tyler's shape was there again. People started DMing her with hard eyes. One wrote, "Hubby better not scroll through close friends." She answered, "He knows who he married." That line was for me. That line said she thought I would swallow anything because I was quiet. I took a screenshot. I opened my browser and left open 3 tabs. Storage options, delivery tracking, notary near me. I did not go past the first page. I minimized when I heard small feet on the stairs. At around 9 p.m., when Sophie was already in pajamas, I got a message from Noah. He had been sent the same toast video through some mutual. He wrote, "They're clowning you in public." I wrote back, "I know. Let them finish." He wrote, "You talking to anyone?" I wrote, "I will, not yet. Need her back in town first." He sent a thumbs up. After I put Sophie to bed, the house got very quiet. That was when the printer noise from the day before came back to me. The house tells on you when it is quiet. I went to the small printer we kept in the corner and printed a single blank page. Just one. The machine spooled and clicked in the silent room. I took the warm blank page and put it into the household folder on the shelf. Now the folder looked thicker than bills. It looked like someone who keeps statements. I sat back at the desk and renamed the contact of the number I had called yesterday to only an emoji, so if Marissa ever saw it, she would not know who I was talking to. It was close to 10 when I heard a car outside. A rideshare, engine idling, doors sliding. I went to the upstairs window and looked down the street. It was in front of Mrs. Daniels' unit. A young couple got out laughing, but the car did not leave right away. It sat there in the street, light spilling on the sidewalk, like it was waiting for another fare. I heard the lock of our own front door downstairs click, not because someone came in, but because I had not fully latched it earlier. The sound made the house sharp. I walked halfway down the stairs and stopped where I could see the door. At the same time, my phone on the hallway table lit up with another Miami story. This one from Tyler himself, tagging Marissa again. Outside, under the street lamp, I saw Mrs. Daniels pause, look up toward our windows like she was trying to place why a door had clicked in a house where the wife was supposed to be out of town. Door latch clicks downstairs as a rideshare idles outside and Mrs. Daniels pauses on the sidewalk, staring up at their windows. Marissa flew back Sunday night like she said she would, but she walked out of arrivals with the look of someone who had been praised for 2 days straight and was not ready to come back to regular life. Her skin was a little pink from the sun, hair still smelling like hotel shampoo, suitcase light because she barely took anything. Sophie ran to her and hugged her, talking fast about the drawing she made and the movie we watched. Marissa hugged her back and said she missed her so much, then kissed me on the cheek the same way she had when she left. On the drive home, she talked more to her mother on the phone than to me. She said the trip was perfect, that the weather was crazy good, that everybody was there. She did not say Tyler's name, even though he was in almost every post. I listened and kept my eyes on the road. When we got home, she pulled out a small souvenir bag for Sophie, a shell keychain, and a cheap bracelet. Sophie was happy. Kids do not care how expensive the gift is. Then Marissa said we were invited to dinner at her mother's the next day because everyone wants to hear about Miami. She said it like it was a celebration of her, not a normal family dinner. I said, okay. I wanted to be there when she told the story in front of older people. At those tables, she could not edit as fast. Monday evening, we drove to Gloria's. It was one of those family houses with framed photos everywhere and a long table that barely fits in the room. Gloria was already busy in the kitchen, loud, happy, telling Marissa she looked amazing, that sun was good for her, that she should do it every year. On the table were two of Marissa's cousins, an uncle, and one of her friends from church who always comments on her posts. I realized quickly that everyone at that table had already seen the Miami stories. They were not hearing this for the first time. They were waiting to see how I would act. We sat, and Gloria asked how the trip was. Marissa said it was honestly so needed. She said she was with the girls, and Tyler showed up because he lives there, so obviously. She said it like everyone knows people meet exes in Miami on weekends, and it is normal. Gloria nodded like she expected that. I took a sip of water and waited. Then Marissa said, looking straight at her family and not at me, that I got a little weird about it, but that she told me I had nothing to worry about. She said some men just don't understand that you can love your husband and still have fun with people from your past. Her church friend laughed and said, "Men are so fragile." I kept eating. I wanted them to see me calm. Gloria turned to me and said I should trust Marissa more. She said Marissa was loyal. She said if she wanted to cheat, she would do it anywhere, so travel was not the problem. That was an interesting logic. Because cheating can happen anywhere, I should not question a trip with an ex. I said, very quietly, that I did not stop her from going. I said I took care of our daughter. I said I only noticed the times and the posts did not always match. Marissa shot me a look like I was breaking the script. She said I was overthinking, like always. She said, "You know how he is," to the whole table, making them part of the conversation. I said I was just telling the truth, not even the whole truth. I did not mention the rooftop kiss on the head. I did not mention the boat. I did not mention the to not being controlled toast. I could have, but I wanted to see if she would bring it up herself. She did not. She kept the story on friends, son, healing. Sophie, who was sitting between us, chose that exact moment to say, loud enough for the whole table, that she saw Mommy with the man from the pool chair and that he hugged her. The table went quiet for 2 seconds. Kids ripped the skin off lies without trying. Gloria recovered first and said kids mix things up. Marissa laughed too loud and said Tyler was like family, nothing bad, they were all together. I looked at Sophie and said that sometimes grown-ups forget to explain things, and that was okay, we would talk later. Marissa did not like that. I said, talk later. She heard the promise in it. After dinner, while Gloria was making tea, I stepped out onto the small balcony to breathe. My phone buzzed. It was Noah. He wrote, "How's it playing?" I wrote, "They made me the problem." He wrote, "Stay quiet. Let her mom talk." I put the phone away. Inside, Gloria started telling Marissa that she should not let a man dim her light. She said women now travel, go out, have male friends, and husbands have to accept it. She said if I kept pushing, I would lose her. I heard all of that from the balcony, through the curtains. I did not go in to argue. If I went in, they would say I was attacking. I wanted them to talk themselves taller. We drove home late. Sophie fell asleep in the back. On the ride, I told Marissa I did not like being made to look jealous in front of people who had seen her with her ex. I said the posts were public. I said her mother congratulating her on not being controlled made me look like the bad one. Marissa rolled her eyes and said I should not be watching her stories so much. She said that was the real problem, not the trip. She said normal husbands don't check close friends. I said normal wives don't put their ex in close friends while telling their husband it's all women. She said maybe we needed to redefine what marriage meant. I said maybe we needed to record what marriage actually looked like. That word made her eyes narrow. She asked what I meant by record. I said I was just keeping things clear. She did not like that. When we got home, I carried Sophie to bed. Marissa went straight to the bedroom and started unpacking. I went to the small desk in the hallway and opened the drawer. I took the USB from yesterday, added a small handwritten note with the date of the family dinner, and put it back. Then I opened my laptop, checked that Archive A and Archive B had synced. A little pop-up said again, "File uploaded successfully." I minimized the window because I heard her coming. She came out of the bedroom with her phone in her hand, still in travel clothes, and asked if I was going to make this into a legal thing. That was her phrase, not mine. I said I did not say that. I said I was only organizing. I said organizing is not attacking. She said men only organize when they want to punish. I said men also organize when they do not want to fight. She did not have an answer for that. The next day after work, I took Sophie to the park. She wanted to show Mom the slide, but Mom was still tired from traveling. At the park, she asked again why Mom was with another man at the beach. I said it was an old friend, but that Mommy did not explain it well. She said it made her sad. That sentence was the one I underlined in my memory. I took her home, made dinner, washed dishes. Marissa ate in front of her phone, scrolling, smiling at comments from Miami. One comment said, "Your husband must be so secure." She liked it. I watched her like those hearts were her food. Later that night, around 10, the house was quiet. I sat on the couch with the TV low. Marissa was in the bedroom. I heard her phone buzz, then buzz again. The tone changed, first normal notification, then the softer one she uses for certain people. I stood up to go get water and passed the bedroom door. It was half open. In the mirror on the closet, I saw her holding her phone, reading a message, and then swiping it away so it disappeared from the preview. She did it fast, practiced, same as women do when they are getting messages they don't want their partner to see. I kept walking to the kitchen like I saw nothing. As I filled the glass from the direction of the small home office corner, where she never spends time, I heard the faint, short hum of the shredder. Not loud, just one sheet. Someone had printed something and decided it should not stay. I walked back through the hall like I was just going to the bathroom. She looked up and said she was going to bed. I said I would come later. In the hallway, on the wall planner, the red circle I had drawn was still there. I put my hand on it for a second and then let it go. A text preview on Marissa's phone instantly deletes itself, while, from the hall, the faint hum of a shredder sounds from the home office she never uses. The morning after I heard the shredder, I decided I was done reacting to her story and ready to build mine. I still went to work, because normal routine is the best cover. At the hospital supply office, I checked inventory, signed off on deliveries, nodded at coworkers. I did not look like a man whose wife spent the weekend in Miami with her ex and then called him controlling. On my first break, I sat in the tiny staff kitchen, opened my phone, and scrolled through everything from the weekend again. I downloaded any video I had missed, especially the toast about not being controlled. I saved screenshots of the comments her mother wrote. I added the flight drop-off time. I wrote all of it in the same simple note file. Dates, times, actions. No anger, no insults. I wanted a timeline, not a rant. When someone walked in, I flipped the screen to an email so it looked like work. After work, instead of going straight home, I stopped at a co-working space cafe downtown. They let people sit and use Wi-Fi if you buy a drink. I sat near the window, put in my headphones, and opened my laptop. On the screen, I had my two clean folders, Archive A and Archive B. I moved the Miami posts into A, the family dinner notes into B. Then I opened a new sheet with just headings, travel, public statements, child impact, financial. I was not filling them fully yet, just naming areas. While I did that, I made a call with my headphones on. I kept my voice low. I said I wanted general information on how to document spousal travel when it affects a child's schedule. I did not give names. I did not say cheating. I did not say divorce. I asked what was generally needed. The person on the other end said dates, proof of travel, proof of who stayed with the child, any public admission. I had all of that. I wrote only one word on the clipboard I had in my bag. Statement. I left it out on the table like I was working on a report. Then I closed the call and renamed that contact in my phone to a single emoji, nothing else. If Marissa ever looked, she would not know. I packed up and went home. When I walked in, Marissa was on the couch in leggings, hair up, watching a show and laughing at something on her phone. She looked like a person who had already gotten away with everything. She asked if I was done being mad. I said I was not mad. I said I was done being casual. That got her attention. She said I was making a big deal out of a trip. She said her friends all said I was overreacting. I said her friends were not married to me. She said maybe I should talk to a therapist about my jealousy. I said maybe she should talk to one about boundaries. She said my problem was I wanted to own her. I said my problem was she wanted to treat a marriage like college. She rolled her eyes and said, "Then what, Ephraim? What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to handle it." She laughed, like I had told a joke. She said, "How? You can't stop me from traveling." I said, "I don't have to stop you. I just have to make it clear." She asked what I meant by clear. I did not answer yet. I went to the hallway and took some of my clothes out of our bedroom dresser and moved them into the guest room. Not all of them, just enough to make it obvious the house was shifting. I put a pillow there, too. When she saw me do that, she said I was being dramatic. I said I was making space. She said we didn't need space. I said I needed accuracy. She said, "You're punishing me." I said, "No, I'm documenting us." That made her angry in a different way. She said only guilty men document. I said only men who don't want to fight document. I made the bed in the guest room and pulled the blinds halfway so somebody walking by would see the room was in use. That is what I wanted. Consistency between what I would say later and what the house looked like. After dinner, I took Sophie to my brother's for a few hours. I told Marissa I wanted to organize the house. That was true. At Noah's, he asked how bad it was. I showed him one screenshot, the toast with "to not being controlled." He whistled softly and said, "That's dirty." I said I wasn't going to answer it the same way. He said, "Good, because if I exploded now, she wins the narrative." He said, "Get your stuff in order. Papers, dates, bank, then talk." I said I was on it. I picked up Sophie later, brought her home, put her to bed. I sat on the edge of her bed for a minute as she slept, thinking how she had asked why her mom hugged another man. That was the part no video showed. I went back downstairs. In the kitchen, I pulled the folders out. Household, utilities, bank. They looked normal from the outside, boring. I opened them and slid in the printouts and notes among the bills. I wrote a sticky note and stuck it inside one. Bring forms. Then I set a phone alarm for the next morning at 10:05 a.m. and labeled it paper drop. I left my phone on the counter where the screen could be seen if someone passed, but I turned off the sound. That way, when it went off, it would just glow, and I could dismiss it fast. I also went to the laptop and checked again that the folders had synced. Small pop-up. File uploaded successfully. I closed it as soon as I heard footsteps on the stairs. Marissa came into the kitchen and said we needed to stop being weird and reconnect. She said people would kill for a partner who lets them travel. She said all her friends said I was crazy to be upset. She said Tyler wasn't a threat and that they didn't even share a room. I said, "You posted him kissing your head." She said it was friendly. I said friendly people don't tell their husband not to be jealous first. She said I was twisting things. I said she was minimizing things. She said, "So what? You're going to go talk to someone about me?" I said, "Yes." I said it just like that, without heat. She blinked because she expected me to deny it. She said, "Who?" I said, "Someone who knows the proper way to handle this." She said, "So you are making it legal." I said, "I am making it proper. There's a difference." She started listing reasons I shouldn't. Our daughter, the house, her reputation, what her mother would say. I said that was exactly why it should be proper and not emotional. She followed me to the garage door as I took some recycling out. I opened the door halfway so light from the kitchen spilled into the garage. I put on my headphones like I was going to listen to music. This was the same setup as before. Garage, half-open door, visible phone. I scrolled to the contact with the emoji and hovered over it. I wanted her to see I was about to call someone she didn't know. She said, more nervous now, that she could delete the posts, that it was all jokes, that her friends didn't mean to make me look bad. I said the posts were already seen. I said the comments were already liked. I said once you make a man the villain in public, you don't get to tell him how to answer. She said I was going to make her look like a cheater. I said I wasn't going to make her look like anything. I was going to show what happened. She said that was the same thing. I said, yes, but one is lies and one is proof. I went back inside to get my jacket and saw my phone screen light up on the counter right on time. Paper drop 10:05 a.m. I hit dismiss before she could read the label. She still saw the glow. She said, "What's that?" I said, "Personal." She said, "You're sneaking now?" I said, "No, I'm planning." I put my jacket on and stood in the kitchen doorway. I looked at her and said, very level, "Marissa, I'm not going to shout with you about Miami. I'm not going to fight your friends on Instagram. I'm not going to sit in front of your mother and beg for respect. I'm going to handle it properly." I watched that sentence hit her. All weekend she had been bold because she thought I had no move except anger. This was a different move. She said, "You can't do that." I said, "I can and I will." I said, "You spent a weekend with your ex, told me not to be jealous, and then used me online. That has consequences. I'm not making them loud, I'm making them official." Right then, like I had choreographed it, even though I hadn't, my phone started to vibrate again, this time not from the alarm, but from the private number I had talked to before. It buzzed on the counter, screen glowing with private. I picked it up, slid open the back door, and stepped out into the driveway with the phone to my ear, the garage door still half open so she could see I was taking the call but not hear what I was saying. He tells her he will handle it properly, and at that exact moment a call from a private number comes in that he answers outside with the garage door half open. She thought we were meeting at the office tower to talk about boundaries with a neutral coffee, because that was the message I sent. Let's talk properly. At your building, 11:30. She arrived dressed for work, hair smooth, blazer sharp, Miami gone from her face. She smiled when she saw me in the lobby, like she'd won, like she had dragged me back into her narrative. Then she saw the woman standing beside me with a slim folder, neither angry nor friendly, just official. Marissa slowed. She said we could talk at home. I said no, here is fine. The woman confirmed her name, right there in front of the receptionist and two people waiting for the elevator. Marissa said yes, confused. The woman handed her the envelope and said it was being served on behalf of her spouse. That was the first and only time in this whole story that anything legal appeared. Marissa looked down, saw the words, petition, temporary financial and possession orders, custody schedule notice, and her mouth opened, but nothing came out. She looked past me, toward the glass doors, maybe hoping Tyler or her mother or any of those laughing friends would walk in and save the scene. Nobody did, I said, calm. I told you I would handle it properly. She said I was overreacting. I said I was responding. She said I was humiliating her. I said I was ending the humiliation. Her phone started to buzz. Gloria calling, probably after seeing nothing on Marissa's story yet. Marissa didn't answer. The receptionist pretended not to listen. I took one step back, gave her space to hold the papers, and then I turned toward the exit. Service of divorce petition with temporary orders in a public office tower lobby, Impact Lands, story ends.